See, when you say that, I can tell like my flesh a little bit is
Like,
still
boy,
in
you
there. It's
stepping
like,
down.
excuse me,
Yeah. Understand that I am a man. If a man said that to me, I love the ways how the Lord has
Me
built
too.
things for the family.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
When you sit all like we're all in our own relationship with Him, coming at each other from.
Hey guys, this is Jacqueline, and welcome to the First Hand Podcast. On this show, I will sit down with my husband, Brandon, and let you guys listen in on conversations we have. We will dive deeper into videos we've posted, reactions to the comment section, as well as giving you the backstory on some of the biblical standards we live by.
When Brandon and I sit down and do devotional books together, I tend to read the books and he normally reacts and responds or explains it. It's different from our Bible study where he is the only one who reads the Bible for us. And so this is our take on how we do devotional books together. And in this book, we're going to be reading The Exemplary Husband by Scott Stewart, the foreword by John MacArthur. So we're reading The Exemplary Husband by Scott Stewart and the foreword by John MacArthur. And we're just reading the foreword right now.
Oh, this is still only the forward? That's good. It's amazing. I don't know. Anyway,
that you got so much out of just the forward?
Yeah, just the forward. That's cool. I used to never read the forward. It's like, what's the point of that? Anyway, go ahead.
The basic character requirements are a heart for God, courage, conviction, patience, devotion, love, humility, and a determined, unshakable commitment to one's wife and family. I think that's interesting because I feel like that does describe you. I haven't witnessed anybody that seemed so for their wife and so for their family like you. Like you've actually polarized our family. Like on the outside, people don't like that you are so for this family.
Well,
not that they don't like it, but they just don't understand why you're doing it.
It doesn't make them comfortable because they are not. If it's a man and if it's a woman, it's because he is not. But that's from losing a lot when I've lost the situation and then that's what arguments come from. When you don't do what you're supposed to do and then everybody's uncomfortable and it makes me feel like I failed, makes you feel like I failed in some kind of way. It's like, oh, I don't want to fail again, and then it's that hard work actually putting in the work to do these things. So that's I think that's mainly why, because I don't want to fail in my biblical role as a father, and trying to make this family have some kind of peace,
I had to understand that you were doing a thing for our family and get in line with that and start standing firm with whatever direction you're trying to take our family. I had to get behind that 100%.
Even if we fail.
Yeah.
And I don't want to fail. Men don't want to fail, but even if I do, that's just how it works.
Since the godly husband's role calls for well-ordered priorities, a willingness to sacrifice, and above all, consistent godly faithfulness. So our responsibility as husbands and fathers is a weighty and often daunting burden. It is especially difficult for today's men to maintain these priorities because we live in an era where the very fabric of our society is being torn apart by anti-family forces. Life seems busier and more fast-paced than it has ever been. And on every front, there are distractions and temptations that pull at us. No wonder so many husbands are clamoring for help.
Yeah, which is still our fault. In my opinion, we need help. But you've created this thing. This is your family. You've created this situation to where everybody goes into different directions. Not allowed it. You've created it. This is where you pointed your family to go. Now you have to understand this is on your back if you want to turn it around.
So do you think the fact that we drastically reduced the amount of things we were involved in helped our family stay on your course, your path? Because I used to do all kinds of stuff. We used to be always gone and doing and participating.
I was about to say. Well, it's not so much that I started that way. This is just what we saw. We were doing all these things, but where's the peace? I was going to say happiness, but where's the peace
there was
in
no
life?
Peace. Yeah.
We thought these things will make us happier, but that's what we're searching for, happiness, but not understanding that you're not searching for happiness. You're supposed to be searching for peace.
That's good. And not just peace and quiet, but actual peace. Finally, here's a thoroughly biblical, intensely practical, and truly spiritual look at the standard of godliness established for Christian husbands. Dr. Dr. Stuart Scott writes with the passion and insight of a godly man who is himself a committed husband and father. He handles the relevant scriptures thoroughly. He interprets it expertly and he applies it graciously. I highly recommend this book to all who wish to rise above the trivialized versions found in most modern manuals on manhood and see what God really requires and what he blesses.
I love that.
That's good.
I love that he well, not just the acknowledgement, but just to remind you there's a worldly, false, biblical way of seeing things, and there is a biblical, true way of seeing things. And remember, there is one way or the other. There ain't no in between, you know?
This is chapter 6, a husband's understanding of his role. I think whenever we read about what God says to men in the Bible, we have in our minds a very specific way of how it should play out, but we don't know what men think about what God wants them to do. Because I know when we're in our sin and we feel like we're doing better, we will accuse you of not even knowing what God wants and not even doing what God wants. So I think it's important to know that men understand their role. And can you explain it to us? You know?
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I was like, "Where are you going with this?" I don't understand. I wasn't understand. I was about to ask you, but anyway, yeah, you helped me a lot with that. Not just understanding my role, and uh, anyway, you helped me a lot with understanding. You say you know what this is. Can you explain it to me so I'll know that you know?
And
That's
not that I'm
mainly what
like
it
the person
is.
in charge, but
Yeah.
I know for me, when I'm a wife and a mother, I'm already doing that. But God said, love your husband, love each other. I'm like, well, obviously I'm doing that, God. And I started to realize that I actually don't know what that means. And I don't know what that love looks like in God's eyes. So I had to learn what he wanted. And one of those things he wanted was obedience and submission and subjection. And I was like, that just feels like it's optional. So when I finally started to understand what my role is, I was more able to do it in the way that honors God and not the way that pleases you personally.
Oh yeah, that's what I think that's the blessing of a Holy Spirit filled Christian life, that you will do what you do always, and then God will step in and say, "Hey, you're doing this wrong," by showing you all the confusion in your life. And then he's like, "Lord, help me! I need help." He's like, "I've already helped you. It's in the Word. Go back and read it. It's in the Word. Read it, and now do it.
Don't figure out a way around it. Don't look at it and see how you can hit it from a different angle. Just do what it says.
In there, and you need to do it." I used to love to have people just tell me what to do. Just tell me, instead of going to the Bible and seeing what it says and trying to walk in that and doing what the Lord said do, and pray and ask him to give you strength to do so. No, can you give me some just tips, Pastor, how to do this, or whoever it is, elder, leader, whoever you are.
I was
give me some tips.
I was getting all of my wifely instruction from love songs and romantic comedies, and it's like, that's not God honoring.
It's completely
and I didn't realize that I was doing it, and so I was like, I'll get no credit, I'm doing all of this stuff. And it's like, well, you didn't play according to the rules. Paul said that you have to play according to the rules or you'll be disqualified. So he didn't say that,
but not exactly that, but that's the context. I know what you're talking about.
Okay. As creator and ruler of this world and everything in it, God is the one who has the perfect plan for marriage. We must accept his plan and depend on his infinite wisdom concerning the roles of both husband and wife. In this chapter, we will seek only to gain a basic understanding of the husband's role, explaining how it correlates to the wife's role. This biblical perspective is needed for Christ-likeness in marriage. It is through his role that the husband exemplifies Christ to his wife, his family, and the world. In this century, our society has managed to confuse thoroughly the roles of husband and wife. Even many Christians have taken the viewpoint that it is okay for everyone to do what is right in their own eyes.
And be in any position they want to in their own eyes. Even not just it. I'm a woman. I'm a full grown adult just like my husband. So I should be able to have the leadership role as well. Or if I don't feel like having a leadership role today, treat me as a baby. No offense. No offense. Just saying.
Oh yeah. Or whoever's more gifted should
this,
do this. Yeah.
no,
If you're better at teaching the children, then you should stay home and I should go to work.
no,
That's silly.
not how that works.
This individualistic mindset has historically brought headache to God's people and shame to God's name. The exemplary husband must see the importance of doing things God's way. For the husband to truly understand God's way, he must first understand God's perspective of man and woman.
Yeah. I don't really have nothing to say there. I just think that's true.
Okay, then
Have to understand.
I'll go. So number one, the two are positionally and personally equal, and then he goes on to explain about that. And then number two, the two are functionally unequal.
Yeah, what does that mean?
As with the Trinity, there is to be an order of function between the husband and wife. God has wisely assigned who gets which function. This delegation of function has nothing to do with worth or ability. It has everything, however, to do with love, humility, and the goal of effectively glorifying God. The husband is given authority over the wife, and the wife is to submit to the husband's leadership because this can best glorify God. Since the goal of every sincere Christian is to glorify God, the husband and wife can each accept their role with joy. The husband and wife are unequal only in authority. This is in keeping with the rest of life, is it not? Parents are in authority over children. The government is in authority over citizens. Employers are in authority over employees. Church leadership is in authority over church members, and so on. A good question is, why all the difficulty surrounding the authority of the husband? That is true.
Mm-hmm.
But we hate the government. We want to overthrow it. We hate our bosses. We cuss them out in our head or whatever.
See, that's the easiest
we think
example.
the pastor wrong.
Flesh. My flesh says your flesh is no better than mine. So, because we're thinking on the fleshly level.
And we just hate authority. Like, I had to learn for myself that I actually hate authority. I love rebellion. And I had to start killing that sin. The sin of rebellion. I had to start killing it and saying, no, I actually love authority. How can I fall in line with the roles of authority in my life? Mm. And so I had to make a conscious decision to do that.
Yeah, and I think women, not all women, but women tend to not understand their husband respects authority as well. He may not like it so much and tell you about his boss or a cop that pulled him over. He might got upset about it, stuff like that. But he respects that authority if he's a biblical man, especially. If he's not, then we're not even talking about that. But if he's a biblical man, he respects that authority. He knows there are consequences to someone's authority over him.
You remember?
He's not going to just argue at his supervisor or a cop or whoever. You know,
you remember when you tried to explain this to me, and I just could not understand. I could not understand that you were actually doing what your boss said, not talking back. I was like, I don't.
There's consequences for men. There's more consequences at a job than women. I think so.
But I know that I've put up with my boss before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Y'all have a little bit of leniency because they be like,
"Oh, it's darn women."
Like, I can't really just be angry at them like I would be at a guy because
I didn't know that.
Because a guy, it's like you yelling at me. Oh, you got to get out of here. You're dangerous. But if it's a lady yelling at you, you see it as you're not dangerous, but it's like,
and that's kind of the problem. We usurp authority all the time. Yeah. We will like, I'll say I would just talk to my boss like he was an equal. Like I didn't work for him. I didn't acknowledge that he was the boss. Yeah. It's amazing. And then when that boss was my mom, it was kind of like, lady, we're family. You're not about to.
Yeah. You can't tell me what to do. You can ask me what to do.
But then I had a little bit of that child fear, like that is my mama. Yeah. She used to beat me. So I don't know. You like when you kept explaining it to me, I remember arguing with you and being so mad about it. And then you was like, because men understand order. And I was like, why?
They understand the consequence of the disorder. You know, it's not just the order. It's, I understand because I'm a man that somebody above me and somebody above them. No, it's the consequence of the order. If you do not follow the order, something's gonna happen. You're not gonna like it, you know, because we've made a lot of mistakes. Like most women think men make a whole lot of mistakes because we do. And then we learn the orders. Like, okay, I can't do that.
I thought you was just at your job, like running the place, nobody telling you what to do or anything like that. I didn't know. And
well, sense of power, you know, if you're really good at your job, if you're really good at your job, you kind of can run a few things because you know, but you ain't really running nothing.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna read this last little bit. We probably should stop him. The Godhead has no problem with the right view of submission or the abuse of authority. They have perfect unity and contentment. So the answer to our previous question is our difficulties with authority and or submission come from our own sinful pride. The husband must humble himself to realize that he does not have unlimited authority.
Humble. This is when you start to, I promise, to me, that's when I start understanding that I'm the leader. And it sounds kind of odd when you learn to humble yourself. You start seeing that, oh, I'm the leader. I have to do the most work. I have to do the most humbling myself. I have to do the most of stepping back and stop saying that I'll bulldoze my way through this and be like, all right, let me step down a bit and try to lift you up, because I can push you and push you and push you, but that's not gonna make things work, you know?
Oh, yeah, I'm about to explode if you keep pushing me.
And if you do, I don't care. I'm the boss. I'm the leader. No, you have to step back and bring yourself down. That's what I say about the Lord Christ. He had full authority over everybody and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And even his disciples, he was like, all right, I'm going to step down and bring this down lower so y'all can understand it a little bit more. Yeah. I'm gonna wash your feet. I'm gonna step down here when I have all authority. It's like, no, I'm gonna step down and kind of lift you up so you can, see what's going on here.
But see, when you say that, I can tell like my flesh a little bit is like, still in there. It's like, excuse me, And so I think women, we may take offense to that. It's like, who am I that you gotta calm yourself down and deal with me,
It's spiritually, it's spiritually and physically, fleshly, because there are some women that can be strong. I'll say this is a kind of a different thing, but men are in the flesh usually the most dominant, and that's a hard thing to kind of hold yourself. But if you're a man like I am, a man's man with strength and fortitude, and it's a hard thing to kind of hold yourself back when people are not listening to you and maybe saying you may be wrong, saying that I don't think you know what you're talking about. You can't make me. It's like it's like you don't understand that I am a man. If a man said that to me, that man would probably be on the ground. But this is fleshy way of saying this thing. But I love you. I don't want to do that to you.
We don't even. It never occurred to me that you were holding yourself back from exerting your dominance.
Seek the Lord and look to yourself. It's like, Lord, help me, because I understand consequences. I love you, Lord. So that's I love this person so much. I need to stop. I need to calm down, because I can't bulldoze my way through.
That's kind of good that like my unruliness kind of helped you learn to master yourself and go to the Lord. Which I'm not saying. Well, we're all tools to be used by God.
I think it's how the Lord works in most things.
Yeah.
But if you're a man that's normally standing back, then it's probably gonna be the opposite. You got to stand up some.
Yeah, you gotta have.
He finally standing up.
Yeah, because women will respect that. Yeah. If like you told me what to do, then okay, I think you can handle this. So, which I don't know. It sucks that you got to spend your whole life trying to prove things to us, but then we also have to spend our whole lives not proving everything we know to you. We have to stand down
both ways.
Yeah,
and they still also transfer to the children. Children have to see that you're wise, you're strong. You're soft also too, and you're not dumb, but you can bring yourself down to a level of not knowing.
Yeah.
Also, not that you just don't know anything, but you can bring yourself down.
And then it helps them because it's like, well, if Dad just admitted he don't know something, are you about to triumph over him? Are you about to say, "Ugh, I'm smarter than him"?
And that's what builds them in their most holy faith. It's like, oh, I just triumphed, and
I know.
over there, it's like,
I'm smarter than that dude, And that produces arrogance and pride, and you're going to fall into destruction. So.
I love the ways how the Lord has built things for the family. Yeah. It's amazing.
When you see it all, like we're all in our own relationship with Him, coming at each other from our own perspective, and yet we're all learning and growing and changing.
And it works that way. Once you start doing the things how He made it to be, it all works out in His own
that's pretty incredible
biblical way.
And so we bless Him for His great wisdom. It's amazing how He set it all up.
I love that, because it takes a big burden off you once you start understanding how He has everything lined up. Do your part, and things will kind of mesh and mold how it's supposed to be biblically.
All right, so we'll stop right there for this part one of this series, The Exemplary Husband by Scott Stewart. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time, guys.